All right, we're going to kick off our media availability with our three-time Daytona 500 champion, driver of the number 11 FedEx Toyota, Denny Hamlin. Denny, thanks for joining us today. We'll take questions for Denny. If you have one, please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Jim.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Denny, so much has gone on this week. I just wondered if you had a chance to kind of reflect on the unique position that you found yourself being one of just a few drivers who've actually won the Daytona 500 3 times, and is it something that you would have ever imagined in your racing career?
No, definitely not. Not in my wildest dreams, for sure. I mean, you know, I was 10 or 11 years into my career and I hadn't won any, so I would have been happy with one if you would have told me at that time before my career was over. But I just, you know, really got kind of a roll going in the 500. That race in particular, you know, just have found my way in good positions at the right time, and you know, made the best of, you know, what moves I could make at the right time, and it's all just kind of worked out really over the last 5 years and really over the last 8. You know, so it's just yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that it's significant. I'll need time to kind of think about it all, but you know, when it kind of hit for me was, you know, right as I'm leaving for Vegas. You know, they brought the trophy home, and I got to put them all together, and you know, just it was just overwhelming to see all 3 trophies sitting there, and it happened in such a short amount of time. It's not something I've got to, like, you know, really let even the first one sink in. I mean, it's just so fresh. So it's pretty crazy.
All right, Jenna.
Hey, Denny, congratulations. Kyle was in here earlier, and I asked him when you became such a good super speedway racer. And
why do you want to set him off like that right off the bat?
Well, I waited. It was like the last question, and I prefaced it and said, I'm not asking you to say anything mean about Denny.
No.
Yeah. But anyway.
No, you were asking him to say something nice.
That's
what, yeah.
Yeah, I said, when did Denny become such a good super speedway racer? And he, said he felt that your game upped in this current car, the Gen 6. And then the other thing that he raised was, he said you made some moves on that last lap that he's, even watching it, he doesn't know how you did it. He said how you went from third to rehooking with the 12 and pushing him in from 3 and 4 to the lead. Like, he can't even believe what you did there. So I'm wondering, 1, what you did there, and 2, if he's right that your style changed in this car.
Yeah, I mean, I think it did. I think that's about when we started really having good results on the super speedways, is when this car came out. That's probably a good timeline for it. I think 2014 we were second, and then maybe the year before that is when it kind of started. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I think I started studying a little bit more around that time about super speedway racing, because had been so unsuccessful for a very long time. I mean, you kind of look at my rookie season. Yeah, we won the shootout, but that's kind of a unique circumstance. But then we went, you know, a long time, and I'd won a lot of the, you know, clashes and dual races, but still not many speedway wins on, like, Talladega. I think I've got 1 there. But just, it seems like, you know, it's that 7 or 8 year mark years ago where this car came around that seems like, you know, whatever techniques I use or I've adapted to this car has seemed to work. But the last lap just kind of worked out nicely for me as it could. I knew that I was in, I thought I was okay entering 1. I pulled the block on him coming into the white, and I stayed in front. And I knew that I knew he was going to back up to the 12, and so I was trying to back up myself, but he was going to get attached, and once he got attached, I knew that they were going to come with a run that I could not stop. So when they had a run, I just kind of held my line, because I didn't want if I start going sideways, the next thing you know, the 6 starts moving sideways, and the 12's already hooked to him, so he's probably going to push him sideways into me. So I just wanted to hold a straight line to let them know that, like, hey, pass this way. And so when they did, I was able to get back to the 12 to slow him and unattach him from the 6. And when I slowed his momentum, that allowed me to really kind of tuck in right behind him. And I don't know if he checked up or not to keep us attached, but you know, once we got attached, I knew that we were going to have a run back on the 6. So I knew he was going to get there. I didn't know what was going to happen when he did get there, but certainly, you know, it worked out in my favor. I thought I was going to get back around the 12 at the line if there was no crash, but I wasn't sure I was going to get all the way back to the 6. So it just I knew that those two were going to jostle, and I was just hoping to kind of be in the right place when it happened, and I was.
A follow-up, but also in the interest of full disclosure, I did ask Kyle if he's aggravated that you've won it 3 times and he's not won it any. But my follow-up, yeah, he ignored it. My follow-up is, what is your goal for the season? I've heard you've told a few people that you want double-digit wins. Is there more to it than just the double-digit wins?
No, I mean, I'd be satisfied with that. And then anything beyond that would be nice. But I don't know. I mean, I think that, you know, the championship is an easy goal that anyone just throws out. Well, win a championship, but that comes down to one race. I think that if you can win a significant amount of races, it shows the bigger picture of your full year. If you make it to the Final Four, that's a bigger picture of your entire year. I think the championship, you know, a successful year is making the Final Four. Anything after that is just whatever it is. But certainly we set lofty goals. I think everyone sets huge and lofty goals. But certainly we're going to, you know, push ourselves to better what we did last year. And it starts with Daytona, and we were able to repeat there. So then let's get a win now before we get to Texas, you know, to keep ourselves on pace or better from last year.
All right. Do you have a question? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's right behind you. Yep.
Just make sure you're pointing to the right person. Mark Garrow, PRN. Denny, after you get back home and you get a chance to look at what happened on the last lap, what happened to Ryan, what was your first reaction to that? And of course, the news got better right there that night. That obviously was a lot off of people's minds. But what was your first reaction to the crash when you finally had a chance to really take a hard look?
Yeah, I saw it for the first time in Victory Lane. I mean, what a lot of people don't understand is that, once he crossed in front of me, I never saw his car again. So I don't know what happened. I didn't even know he was upside down or anything. I didn't know that anything had happened really significant until I saw it. I believe that Jamie was there. We were kind of waiting to get out. And I saw them doing a replay, and so they had right next to the cameraman, they have a monitor, so I told him to come up to the window so I could watch, and at that point I saw how significant it was. So that was when I knew that this is a major crash and something that we need to be kind of really aware of. So and then she came over and told me that they were going directly to the hospital. So that was kind of my chain of events of kind of knowing the significance. Because as I finished, I never saw his car again. Didn't see anything. So his car ended up past the kink in the tri-oval, so still blocked off from anywhere I could see. So tough circumstances for sure, but glad it ended up on the good side and not the worst.
How do you handle that as a race driver? I mean, everybody's race drivers have a different way of looking at things. But you're also a human being. You also have kids, and you have the same things that Ryan's trying to balance as he makes his way through his career. How do you guys balance that out? How do you deal with a situation like that?
Yeah, I mean, right away, I think, we both have 2 daughters and whatnot, so you kind of put all that in perspective, and certainly you're just kind of shook more than anything, and you don't know whether to grieve or do you celebrate with your team because you just won the biggest race? Or it was just a really tough place to really be in, to be honest with you. And but certainly I thought that our team handled it really well once we were all informed of what was going on, and there's plenty of time for us to celebrate. We don't have to do it on that particular day.
Do your children ever have any questions about this?
No,
I mean, they're young, I realize, but
yeah. I mean, the oldest one, she hasn't really asked. The only time she was wondering was we had the rain delay. She was away when I came back to the motorhome, and she saw the race on TV from last year, and did you crash out? And no, that was last year, honey. It's raining outside, so that's she's always there. Anytime I do crash out, I mean, she's the first one that comes to me in the bus. So, I mean, it makes you think. I mean, it really makes you think about the bigger picture of everything.
All right, Reed, go ahead.
The NASCAR wire. Obviously, after the race, the celebration was somewhat subdued, and as you say, you guys handled it extremely well. But now that Ryan's out of the hospital and it looks like he's going to be okay, have you been able to relax and enjoy it more and sort of celebrate the win more as the week goes on?
I mean, just a little. I had one day at home, honestly. It was just an all-nighter. By the time I got home in Charlotte, I literally I got to drive home, change, and then go back to the airport at 4 something to go to New York. So I was so tired that I didn't have time to kind of reflect on anything. And like I said, when I was about to leave for the airport and had all 3 trophies together, was when I was like, this is really super significant. I remember just putting the second one next to the first one, thinking that I just can't believe this. And then 1 year later, you got another one. So it's still surreal. I still got to kind of put it all together and process it. Talking, a lot of it is talking to people who are either within the sport or friends about how amazed they were about the run that we've been on. That kind of wakes me up to the significance of it and what it means to not only me, but to the other people in history itself.
Okay. Any additional questions for Denny? All right, we'll take one final one. Go ahead.
Sean Clark from KLJXLP Flagstaff. Obviously, you had a huge win at the Daytona 500. That was only 4 days ago. How do you transition into this weekend's race?
Well, you start by being about 25th in practice or 27th or whatever we were. That's how we ease back into it. But we just I don't know. I mean, you can't deny that it's a short prepare work week where I don't have as much time to prepare for this week as what I will probably next week and beyond. But I'm just trying to catch up at this point. I'm really trying to catch up on everything and get all the information that I need, because obviously you don't always plan on being not being home till Wednesday or whatever it might be. So it's tough. I'm really tired, but it's worth it. It is so worth it. I think about that all the time, that as soon as I start really getting grumpy in the middle of the media days or the questions or getting asked the same thing, it's just man, this certainly does beat the alternative, though. So that trophy in that third win, I mean, puts you in the history books for forever. Let's just deal with this for a few more days.
All right, Denny, we appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Best of luck this weekend.